Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best anime-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. It's an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you guys joining us as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news, a little bit of television, some other stuff here and there. And oh my God, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Of course, last night was the biggest night in the movie year. It was the Oscars, so we've got a lot of stuff to cover on that. But before we get to any of that, I want to bring in the people who are joining me today. Of course, starting off with the one and the only, the great, the maestro of the movies, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, John. What are you wearing today? What is that, a Calvin Klein t-shirt? What is
that? I am actually, you know what? You actually nailed it. I am actually wearing, no doubt. No, I mean, honestly, no joke. I'm actually wearing a Calvin Klein t-shirt. I can pull it through.
I recognize the cut anywhere.
Yeah, the fashion is screaming here today. And speaking of our fashion experts, we, of course, are also joined by Ashley Whalen. Ashley, how are you doing today?
Great. Man, Rob, you can get a job with E now. I didn't know how astute you were with fashion.
He just nails this stuff, right? He's just got the eye for that. Now, listen, guys, we all, of course, watched the Oscars last night. But before we get to the Oscars, we got a couple of things to get to here. And we're going to start off with this. A brand new poster off the top here dropped this morning, and I guess we could say it's the first poster. Let's call it, for argument's sake, the first poster. The first official poster dropped for Disney's The Lion King. And all I can say is perfect. There is nothing that isn't absolutely perfect about this poster for this particular movie. I mean, this isn't a great Star Wars poster, but for a Lion King poster, knowing what is coming, knowing what the Lion King is, just the great sky, the landscape there. You got Mufasa looking down at Simba. It's like, our first great look at Mufasa. I am absolutely stoked about this. Now, it is just a poster. But Rob, last night, they played another slight variation of the Lion King trailer, and it was an ever so slight variation. It was pretty much the same as the Super Bowl trailer, but still, they played that there. Now this poster drops. I love it. What did you think about it when you take a look at it?
I love it too, but dude, I mean, if you put like Obi-Wan and Anakin in that poster, or Vader and Luke, it'd be a great poster, dude.
Yeah, I guess.
Come on, imagine Vader and Luke right there. Luke's holding his lightsaber up. You still got the sun. They're in the exact same pose. Vader's over him. Sir, join me, and together we will rule the galaxy as father and son. Come on, man. No, I can't wait to see this movie. I mean, I love The Jungle Book. And
it's so good.
So good.
So good. So bring it on.
So, Ashley, you had a chance to take a look at this poster. What do you think about the poster?
It looks awesome. Just looking at that image makes me so excited to see the movie. And then the what I saw last night just made me want to see it even more. I'm stoked. All my friends are excited about this movie.
You know what the funny thing is that a bunch of people, again, the trailer that they played last night was essentially the exact same trailer that we've seen at the Super Bowl, the poster, but the reaction to it that we saw online was almost like it was the brand new all over again. It was almost like it was a brand new trailer. I am telling you, I said this before, I will say it again. If I had to put $100 on which movie was going to be the #1 box office movie of 2019, if I had to put $100 on it, I would put it on Endgame. But I am telling you what, I think there is a solid chance, maybe not as good as Endgame. I think there is a legitimate chance Lion King is going to end up being the #1 box office film of the year, because I am seeing people who do not buzz about movies buzzing about Lion King.
Me too.
They may not be buzzing about Star Wars. They may not be buzzing about Avengers. They may not be buzzing about anything else. But I'm seeing people who don't normally buzz about movies buzzing about this movie. And again, they just played the same crap last night, and everybody lost their minds over it. So I don't know, Rob. Do you think there's a chance this movie could actually be the #1 film of the year? Or do you think that's just a total pipe dream?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I heard a rumor that halfway through the movie, half of the animals disappear. I mean, and I think it's a pretty interesting tie-in that the Lion King is actually part of the MCU. No, I look. This movie's going to be huge, even if Mufasa does get dusted. I mean, it's going to be a huge movie, and what is more beloved in the modern age of animation than The Lion King? I mean, sure, there's the Toy Story movies, but let's face it, all kids and kids at heart, we love animals and we love talking animals. And I can't wait to see this. I really can't.
I'm very excited about it too. All right, now let's move on to this next little item here off the top. We also do have this other little movie coming called Endgame. And then we also, before that, we have this little movie called Captain Marvel. And then after Endgame, we've got this little movie called Spider-Man Far From Home. But, a lot of people have been asking, what comes after Far From Home? Far From Home is less than half a year away at this point. And a lot of people asking what's going to happen. Now, remember, a couple of years ago, Kevin Feige had this big event in Hollywood where a bunch of us went and they laid out all the MCU films for phase 3 and laid all the movies out and blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. There have been no such announcements. Now, people have been wondering, is Kevin Feige going to make that announcement again here pretty soon? And some people were even speculating online, and some reports came out that within the next week or two, there was going to be a new slate laid out by Kevin Feige, but Kevin Feige has shot those reports down, as we are now hearing him say this: I don't think we'll be announcing 5 or 6 years, but we know sort of where we want to head in the next 5 or 6 years. As we've been doing for years, we aren't going to announce anything post-Avengers, Endgame, or Spider-Man Far From Home until post-Endgame and Spider-Man. So basically, Kevin Feige has come out now and basically let it be known that, hey guys, we're not going to let you know about what's coming up for Marvel or anything like that until after Spider-Man Far From Home is done. And if I'm not mistaken, this will be the first time in a while that we won't know, because the day after Spider-Man Far From Home comes out, there will officially not be any named and titled Marvel movies coming. Like we'll be in this weird zone that we haven't been in for ages, where the newest Marvel movie is now already opened and we don't know what's next until Feige makes that announcement. Rob, let me ask you, are you surprised to hear this? Like, were you expecting maybe that we would see Kevin Feige give us the rundown about what's coming up next, or do you think this is the right thing for them to do?
I think it's absolutely the right thing for them to do, because they don't have to tell us. We're talking about it already. Right. I mean, these guys are talking about dangling carrots, and we're just the donkeys riding up the MCU mountain. Please, Mr. Feige, give us a little bit more of that carrot. I think one of the things he's doing, it's showmanship. He's got 1, 2, 3 movies coming out. He's got Carol Danvers, he's got Endgame, then he's got another Spider-Man movie. I mean, he's already laid out his cards. I mean, he's unfurled right there. Let it go on the table. He's just, I love what they're doing. I think it's great. And by the end of, at the end of Far From Home, who isn't going to be sitting in that theater wondering, what is this post-credit scene going to tell us? Where are they going? And I mean, dude, I'm telling you, it's going to be big, whatever it is. Whatever we see at the end of Endgame and Far From Home, I just want to see Galactus far away, and then
you're not going to see Galactus.
Obsessed.
Stop getting people's hopes up, Robert. We're not going to get Galactus in the post-credit scene of this. But do you think, though, honestly, though, you raise a great point. Do you think by the way, I think when you guys have your headphones too loud, because I'm hearing some feedback.
Probably me.
But do you think, though, there is a possibility here that what we get in Endgame, the post-credit scene we get in Endgame and the post-credit scene we get in Far From Home, do you think that's basically going to be their way of announcing to us what's next?
Yeah.
Or do you think it'll just be something frivolous like the Grand Master post-credit scene in Thor Ragnarok, which has no connection to anything else? But do you think it'll actually be pointing us to what comes next?
Well, I think absolutely something's going. I mean, look, this is the culmination of 20. Far From Home will be 23 movies. So they're I mean, this is their mic drop. It's like 1, 2, 3, and I think that at the end they're going to give us, because Kevin Feige's a showman. He's like the greatest showman. He's like Hugh Jackman style, and I think that he's going to be giving us something delightful.
All right.
I put my trust in Kevin.
Okay, guys, with that stuff down and out of the way, let's now move on to our main topics. How do we select our main topics on the John Campea Show? Well, it's really rather simple. You see, you guys select our main topics by emailing us your topics anytime to John at thejohncampeashow.com. That's John at thejohncampeashow.com. Make sure you guys put the word topic in the subject line. And as always, guys, please keep those emails to 90 words or less. With that down and out of the way, Ashley, what is our first main topic today?
Okay, first one is from T. Hayes. So we have now had an Oscar ceremony without a host. Yeah, that happened. We have already talked about why it happened in depth, but now that it has happened, let's talk about how it went. Was it successful? What do you think?
You know what's funny? I said going into the Academy Awards this year that they really botched it with the host. And they did. They completely botched their host situation, their handling of the Kevin Hart situation, even pre-hiring him, then hiring him, and then everything that happened afterwards, that whole thing and not having a host. And I said on this show, I believe we're going to feel an extra level of disjointedness to the awards this year because you don't have a host there to be your constant through the show. You don't have a host here to keep the cadence and keep the pace going. And the show may still be fine, but it's going to suffer from that a little bit. You're really going to notice that. And you know what? I was wrong. That show last night, love or hate the winners, and we'll talk about the winners here in a bit, but that show last night had the best pace I think I've felt in an Oscar show in a long time. And you know, it's funny too, because they open up the show, well, they open with Queen, but then you got Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Maya Rudolph come out, and they brought the house down. I thought they were fantastic. And all of us who were over here at my place last night, we're all like going, why didn't they just get them to host? Because Tina Fey and Amy Poehler did such an amazing job the years that they hosted the Golden Globes. They may have been the best Golden Globes hosts ever. And they brought the house in. We're all thinking, well, there you go. They should have just got them to host and blah, blah. But then as the show went on and we started getting that sense of pace, they focused this show more on the awards than they ever have in the last 20 years. There was so much less frivolous stuff. They didn't have, I still think they should take out the best song performances. I still think they should take those out. But in years past, on top of the song performances, they also had extra song and dance numbers. Now we're going to celebrate this, and now we're going to celebrate that. And there was none of that. It was, here's our presenter for this category, and your nominees are, and the winner is acceptance speech, move on to the next category. And it gave the whole show a pace and a cadence that even though it still clocked in at about 3.5 hours, it never to me felt like it dragged. It never felt like it dragged. So while I was sitting here saying, guys, not having a host this year is going to hurt the show, it's going to hurt the show, I was wrong. It was great. Now, I'm not saying they should never have a host again. Not at all. I would still right now really very much look forward to John Mulaney hosting, or looking forward to Tina Fey and Amy Poehler and Maya Rudolph maybe hosting. That'd be fine. But if they come out again next year and say, guys, no host again this year, I'll be like, cool, because it worked far better than I thought it would be. Rob, you had a chance to watch the show. Do you think the show suffered from no host? Do you think it benefited? Do you think there was a mixed bag? What did you think?
Well, on one hand, I thought it was less focused, but it sort of meandered. But like you just pointed out, I love the fact that it was more about the awards.
Right.
You know, it was just, here are the awards, here are people presenting them. There you go. And I thought that was great. I mean, it just whipped along. The commercials were more annoying than ever because they were the things that really cut into the pace. You know, they had this good pace going. And then it seemed like the songs were interminably long because they also, it's like, why are we spending when you have, look, I get it because they want it to be a variety show, but the songs get an inordinate amount of attention when you do that.
Preach.
And it's like, why are we listening to these songs right now when I want to move down the awards and I want to see people and I want to see what they have to say? And the songs seem really more so than I've ever felt superfluous this year.
You know, and I've said this before, I will say it again. You say what is important to you and what is most important by what you spend most of your time on. They spent 5 times as much time on the best song category on this show than they did on best director.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Now, I'm not going to deny, though, that one of the highlights of the show for me was the performance of Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper singing Shout.
No doubt.
That was a great moment. It was absolutely a great moment. I want to take nothing away from that. Even I really, really enjoyed it. You know, Bradley Cooper, for a guy who's not a singer, sings pretty well.
They both
And
enjoyed it too, obviously. It's pretty
yes,
steamy.
yes, and hey, listen, I'm starting to think this Gaga chick's got some. She might have a little bit of talent. You know when I became a Lady Gaga believer, seriously, I always thought she's got some catchy tunes and some good music, but I never took her seriously as a singer, to be honest with you, until that Academy Awards a couple of years ago. Do you remember this, Rob?
Yeah.
Where they said, now is a tribute to Julie Andrews and Gone with the Wind. Lady Gaga it was Sound of Music she came out and sang, right? Sound of Music. And I was sitting there at home when that was happening going, oh God, really? Lady Gaga is going to come out and sing Sound of Music. And then she shut us all the hell up because she came out and belted it like I didn't know was even possible. And she did a great job again last night. But I'm completely in agreement with you, Rob. I say take out those damn song things. But we'll get to that in a second. I would just say, though, again, while I'm totally cool if next year they go hostless again, I'm totally fine if they do. I will also have no objections if you bring these three back.
No.
Just because, like I said, what they did at the Golden Globes, they just redefined what a great hosting job at an award show is when these guys did. I thought they were better than Ricky Gervais. I thought they were better than pretty much anybody they've ever had. And I thought they did a great job opening the show. And if you did it last year, but I would say this, Rob, and I don't know if you agree or disagree with this, but I would say if you do bring in a host next year, even if it's these three, I would say lessen the role of the host a little bit. Have the host out 3 or 4 times throughout the show to handle major transitions between segments of the show and keep it to something like that because I just felt the pace a little bit better. But
yeah, I mean, it's really funny because not having it was cool to see Queen play, although they played the most obvious songs in the world. You know, I would like to have seen
that's what
it.
people would have wanted. That's what people wanted, though. They wanted.
I know, but I would like to have seen Who Wants to Live Forever or something like that. Because, but that's fine. Be that as it may, I do think not having some everything is perfunctory. You watch the Academy Awards. It struck me last night. You watch them to find out who won. Yeah, like and you want to see who arrives, what they're wearing, what they have to say on the red carpet. And then you want to see who wins and hear them talk. And that's it. All this other stuff is superfluous. And it shows that a show can survive without this superfluosity. I mean, you don't need it.
The In Memoriam was wonderful last night as Williams' music played.
Sure.
And by the way,
although they left out people like Dick Miller and, of course, Stanley Donen, who just died. But
always do, though. But Stanley Donen died in 2019, did he not?
He died this weekend.
Yeah, so he wouldn't be in until next year's.
If they remember.
They've done that before, remember? Like it's basically remembering the people. But they did Stan Lee, which I thought was good. Some people were complaining that they didn't honor Stan Lee in the In Memoriam for the SAGs, but I'm like, Stan Lee wasn't an actor.
Right.
I mean, he wasn't an actor, but he's a major influence on the film industry, so I was really glad to see them bring him in there. All right, guys. With that down, let's now move into, the winners of the Oscars. Ashley, what's the next topic today?
All right. Next one is from Darren Timms. Hey, John, just finished watching the Oscars, and I thought it was a really good show, and I'm pretty happy with all the winners. What did you think of the winners? Any surprises? Any disappointments?
All right. So let's take a second here and just run down really quickly who did win. And then we'll go into what we thought about surprises. We'll go into what we thought about, who should have, who could have, all that kind of stuff. So just quickly, makeup and hairstyling and absolute worst acceptance speech of the night was for Vice. Film editing went to Bohemian Rhapsody. I kind of thought Green Book or Black Klansman could have taken that, but the editing of Bohemian Rhapsody I thought was great. Visual effects, we'll talk about this in a second, went to First Man. Beating out Avengers Infinity War, Ready Player One, Solo: A Star Wars Story, and Christopher Robin. Original score, very deservingly, goes to Ludwig Göransson for Black Panther. Everybody talks about the music in Black Panther, and what they instantly talk about is, Kendrick Lamar. But Kendrick Lamar did the songs? The score of Black Panther was insanely great. I love the score in that movie.
I agree.
So Ludwig, who, by the way, as we found out in the Oscars last night, was Ryan Coogler's roommate at USC. which I thought was really fun. Live action short film went to Skin. Animated short film went to Bao, which is one of the only ones I saw. I did love Bao. Sound mixing went to Bohemian Rhapsody and sound editing, something I thought Black Panther could have snuck out those 2 Oscars as well. But yeah, no arguments for me about that. Costume design went to Black Panther. Cinematography, no big surprise, went to Roma, although I thought Cold War had a chance at that. Best production design, Black Panther. And then we get into these things. Then best original screenplay went to Green Book. Best adapted screenplay went to Black Klansman. Now, and then best song, of course, went to Shallow, which wasn't really a big surprise. The documentary best feature, which should have gone to Won't You Be My Neighbor, which wasn't even nominated, went to another deserving winner, Free Solo. Documentary short was Period, End of Sentence, one of the best acceptance speeches of the night as well. No surprise, best foreign language film went to Roma. And then we get into some of these categories. So, best supporting actor went to Mahershala Ali. I thought this was one that maybe could have gone to Sam Elliott. I also thought maybe it could have gone to Adam Driver. No, but Mahershala Ali's won a lot of the Best Supporting Actors awards at the various awards ceremonies this year, so no big surprise there. Best performance by an actress in a supporting role. This one was the biggest lock of the night to me. Regina King was going to win this award, deservedly so. Very happy for her. And of course, one of the best moments of the night as Chris Evans walked her up onto stage that everybody screamed and swooned over. Performance by an actress in a leading role. Look, I told everybody last week, I don't care how many of the other awards Glenn Close won. I told you Glenn Close was a long shot at best at winning the actual Oscar. And Olivia Colman won. And in my opinion, best acceptance speech of the night. I loved her acceptance speech. It was the kind of speech that reminded me about why acceptance speeches can be really fun. Best actor, not a big surprise to a lot of people. Rami Malek won for Bohemian Rhapsody. I kind of thought maybe Viggo Mortensen may take it, but it goes to Rami Malek. He did an amazing job in that film. Best animated feature film of the year, and this is why this is important. It goes to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which contributes to a record at this year's Oscars. Comic book movies took home 4 Academy Awards this year, more than any other year. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Best Director, I really thought this one should have gone to Spike Lee. However, no surprise, it went to Alfonso Cuarón, which is, he did a great job directing the film. I don't like the film all that much, but it's just gorgeous. And then, of course, Best Picture, my number 2 pick out of this list. My number 1 pick to win out of this list of nominees would have been Black Klansman, but my number 2 pick to win out of this list was Green Book. I think it's a masterpiece of a movie. I love this film, and Green Book actually ended up winning Best Picture. Now, before we get into all of our surprises and everything, there's been some backlash over the notion of Green Book winning, which to me is ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. This movie is fabulous. Now, would I have given it to Black Klansman? Yes. Black Klansman, out of all the films that were nominated, it was my number 1 pick to win Best Picture, because I didn't even like Roma. But I thought Roma was going to win, but my pick to win was going to be Black Klansman, but only second, and only closely second to it, was Green Book. It is a brilliant film. And now all these people coming out and acting like this is big, some huge shock and surprise. It's like, where have you been? This awards season has seen honor after honor after honor by, it's not just the Academy, by tons of award bodies, heaping tons of awards on this film. A lot in the acting categories, some in the directing categories, all that kind of stuff. But no less than this, at some of the major awards this year, Green Book won Best Picture at the National Board of Review. And Robert, I remember you and I were doing that show after it won the National Board of Review. And I said, guys, this is one, National Board of Review is a serious one. And you have got to consider that Green Book may be one of the front runners here to win Best Picture, because winning National Board of Review is no joke. It also won the Producers Guild, the PGA Awards, which is another big indicator quite often going into the Academy Awards. So it won the National Board of Review Best Picture. It won the Producers Guild Best Picture. Probably the most important film festival in the world is the Toronto International Film Festival. It won the top prize of the Toronto International Film Festival. It was one of the top prize winners of the AFI, of the American Film Institute. It won Best Picture at the Golden Globes. Not that I care about the Golden Globes, but a bunch of you guys do. But it won Best Picture at the Golden Globes. And then it just wrapped up its year by winning Best Picture at the Academy Awards. So, if if Green Book wasn't your pick to win, and it wasn't mine, Black Klansman was, but if Green Book wasn't your pick to win, all this nonsense about, oh, the Academy is this and the Academy is that, oh, then everybody is. Because it was winning these awards across the board from everybody. And even in the ones that didn't win, it was at least nominated and considered a front runner for. So I don't know why everybody's acting so surprised. This entire awards season. Now, again, I was almost positive that Roma was going to win Best Picture. I was almost positive that thing was going to win Best Picture. But I don't know why any of us will act so surprised. This is a narrative that has been unfolding the entire awards season. So it ultimately winning, to me, is no shock. And I think this is, while not my first pick to win, a very deserving winner. I think this film is magnificent. And Mahershala Ali crushed it. Of course, he wins Best Supporting Actor. Viggo Mortensen nominated for Best Actor. But interesting to note here, guys, Green Book now only becomes the 5th film in the 91-year history of the Academy Awards to win Best Picture when its director was not nominated for Best Director. Only the 5th time it has ever happened. And part of the reason why I was a little bit surprised, because I thought, well, wow, like it won without getting the Best Director nomination. Only the 5th time it's happened, which is incredible to me. Rob, let's go over to you here. You look at this huge list, all these things, including Best Picture and whatever. Were there any big surprises to you or things that you thought were really an oversight or whatever? How did you see it?
No, I didn't think that there were any upsets like you. I mean, Green Book was a favorite to win. It was, to me, it was a two film race. It was either Roma or Green Book. And I knew when Roma won Best Foreign Film, I'm like, oh, Roma's not going to win Best Picture. I was thinking that the whole time. What I think was really interesting, there's some really interesting stats. There have been, it has been 30 years since any Black woman that was not an actress has won an Academy Award for technical categories, for other categories. And we had 2 Black women within 5 minutes win for costume design and production design for Black Panther. So that, I think that's, that sends, for anybody who's an aspiring, wants to work in Hollywood in any capacity, I think that's a great indicator of where our industry is going in terms of, sure, there needs to be more inclusion, but it's really, the film business now is much more accepting of all peoples to work in all levels now than it ever has been, which is great. I was kind of bummed out Infinity War, to be honest, didn't win Best Visual Effects. I mean, First Man was totally deserving, but First Man won based on its final sequence, the landing on the moon and also conveying space flight in a very, I mean, it won because it was able to create, my favorite word, verisimilitude, realism, where Thanos, I think a lot of people now take motion capture characters for granted. They think, they've been doing that since Lord of the Rings. But I thought it was pretty astonishing. But everybody else, I thought was really, really deserving. There was no my only thing that I really wanted to see happen that didn't was Richard E. Grant is one of my favorite actors.
Right. Yeah.
He has never been given. He's one of our and nobody was having. He won the Spirit Award on Saturday for Best Supporting Actor. He beat Mahershala Ali, and I wanted to see him win because I just love that guy. And watching him here on the festival circuit, I've never seen anybody who's had more fun and has had a. Did you see, like, he told a story about how he wrote a letter to Barbara Streisand when he lived in Swaziland, or when he was growing up, when he was 14, and when she took the stage, they like cut to his face and he was like beaming because he's such a Barbara Streisand fan. I wish he just ran up there and hugged her or something, but he wouldn't have done that because he's got too much class. But that was my only regret of the night. It was a great night for the awards. I really think it was terrific.
With the First Man thing, here's the interesting thing, First Man. I was talking about this last night too, is that I mentioned a buddy of mine who is a production designer in Hollywood here. He was here last night, and just earlier this week, he was at the big production designers dinner, and where they had a panel of all the nominated production designers. And, this is the thing about First Man. And I remember on our show a number of weeks ago, I said, look, probably my top 2 picks for visual effects are Ready Player One and Infinity War. But do not sleep on First Man, because there are so many visual effects on there that you will never even know you're looking at visual effects.
Right.
And my buddy who was at that dinner, they were talking about the production design, and he says the designers are saying, I've never worked on a movie where I had to work so hand in hand with the visual effects people, because there were so many shots in this movie that were visual effects heavy, working in cooperation with the production design and everything. And the thing is, you go to watch that movie, you will, until they go into space, you'll never even guess that you're looking at visual effects. It's like First Man is an example of visual effects, honestly, used to perfection. Because when you don't even know they're there. So I still probably would have given the nudge to Infinity War or Ready Player One, just because of the bombastic nature of the visual effects and all those, the big highlight reel stuff like a Thanos and things like that. But I got no qualms about First Man winning that. And that's kind of the overarching theme for me about the night. This was a night where I have no problems with any of the winners. Like, not all of my picks won, but at least the ones that did win, I can go, yeah, you can make a solid argument that one would win. You can make, I mean, I was surprised by First Man's win in visual effects, but still, the entire run, I had no issues with any of the winners, even if they weren't my picks. And it's been a long time, Robert, since I've had that at the Academy Awards, where it's like, okay, my guy didn't win, but the guy who did win was pretty damn deserving, you know?
Yeah.
So now let's talk about this for a second, Rob, here too. Black Panther takes home not one, not two, but 3 Academy Awards last night. And here's the greatest part about that to me. As somebody who didn't feel that Vice or Bohemian Rhapsody or Black Panther should have been nominated for Best Picture, all the awards that Black Panther won, it totally deserved. There's none of this.
Richly deserved.
There's none of this stupid, like even around Heath Ledger's win, there's still these stupid ass discussions about Heath Ledger wouldn't have won if he hadn't have died. Like there's all that nonsense still around it. But with the wins that Black Panther got, to me, no question, it deserved those wins. So not only did it win 3, it deserved all 3. And I'll tell you what, again, I thought they could have snuck out of there with 5, because I bet they came close to the sound editing and the sound mixing awards. They could have walked out of there with 5. And then on top of all that, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse takes home an award that shouldn't even exist, Best Animated Film, but Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse should have been nominated for Best Picture. But whatever. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse wins Best Animated Film. A very rare year that Disney does not win for either its Pixar or its Disney animation branches. So Sony takes home the win on that. It gives us a record-setting year of 4 Academy Award wins last night for comic book films. Black Panther winning 3, which edges out The Dark Knight, which had only won 2. So there's that. And then you add the Spider-Man thing, 4 films. Now, that in a year when last year was the first year ever that a comic book movie, Logan, was actually nominated for the major prize of Best Screenplay. Now we get this year 4 Academy Award wins. Rob, the times, they are a-changin'.
And Stan Lee was smiling from heaven.
Oh, and Stan Lee was smiling down at that. And even Kevin Feige's name was probably mentioned more than ever at any Oscar ceremony in history. But Rob, you see these results. Was this a fluke year, or is this a real sign when you compound last year to this? Is this a real sign that the times are changing with the acceptance of comic book movies and the maturation of comic book movies?
Oh, I think it's absolutely a sign. I mean, you know, it's we have a generation of people now. We're 10 years. We're into the 11th year of the MCU. So, you know, if you were 9 years old, if you were born, you know, you're now 20, and if you were born 11 years ago, you're now 11. So we've got a whole generation of people that are growing up that don't have a prejudicial stance against comic book movies to be a valid form of entertainment. And I think that we're going to see more and more of these films winning as the years go by, which I think is great.
Ashley, let me ask you this. You watched the Academy Awards last night. Did you have any big things that were like, first of all, what were 1 or 2 highlights for you in that show? And did you have any big surprises at all?
Yeah, I mean, I loved Olivia Colman's speech.
Yeah.
I'm
So
really,
good.
really happy she won for that. It was so good when she was like, "This is hilarious!" Like that's exactly how I would have felt. I would have been like, "What is happening?" But yeah, it was delightful. I actually was very surprised at visual effects. I did the Vanity Fair ballot, and I was looking over all my guesses, and I have to say, I got pretty much them all right, except for a couple. And visual effects, I did not guess right, but I thought it was going to go to Avengers, but I also am agreeing with what you're saying that if you're not noticing them, then they're obviously doing a really great job. And I never got upset. I was never like, "What? How is this winning?" I was just like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting. I didn't expect that." There were no major upsets. I tweeted a month ago, I hope Green Book takes it, and it did. So I was happy about that. And I don't like now that I feel almost shame that I liked that film. I thought it was a fantastic film. And it's unfortunate with everything on the internet going around right now about like reverse driving Miss Daisy and, like that it's a white savior film and all of these things coming out. I was more shocked about that considering how many awards it's already won. And like you just showed us on the graphic. And I mean, it's a wonderful film about friendship and, it was a period piece and the dialogue was incredible. Script was amazing. The characters were incredible. It's an amazing film. I'm just so sad that now there's this like shadow over it, but I'm very happy with all of the winners this year, I have to say.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, overall, I gotta say it was a winning year. It was a winning year for the Oscars. Overall, I haven't enjoyed a show, an Oscar show this much in a couple of years. So kudos to them, and let's see where that leads us to.
There is
next
like
year.
a couple of my friends were they thought it was a little drier with no host, I have to say. Like there
agree.
and lack of some people said lack of continuity as well, just like that it felt a little bit all over the place. I came there to see the winners, like you guys were saying earlier. Like I just want to see like go up, say your speech. I want to know who wins, check off my box, continue. But I think other people that aren't movie fanatics, they kind of want a little bit more of a variety show. So I think they want like the comedy that like one host can bring, or maybe, they enjoy the musical numbers. But I thought it was more streamlined this time around. But
Yeah,
we'll
definitely
see.
a lot more pace and streamlined this year than before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on now to the next email. What's up next?
All right. Next up is Cam Wood. I was excited to see an R-rated Black Widow movie, but Kevin Feige just debunked those rumors, saying it will definitely be PG-13. Are you disappointed or even surprised? Were we getting too hopeful? Thanks for all you do.
Yeah, I remember, Rob, we talked about this story a couple of weeks ago on the John Campea Show when the reports came out in the flying around, and we said on that show, guys, this is not true. This is all these headlines are coming from this one obscure little blog that wrote it on their WordPress blog. And everybody started running with it. And we said, this is not true. I mean, anything's within the realm of possibility, but this is not true. But, at the time, Rob, you and I discussed about, well, let's just say theoretically, what would be the benefits of an R-rated thing? Could something like that work and blah, blah, blah? And there certainly are some upsides, but Black Widow's in the main MCU. Bob Iger has already shown that he has waved his scepter to say no R-rated stuff in the MCU. If we're going to do R-rated stuff, it's moving out of Marvel and under another banner and all this kind of stuff. And yes, now Kevin Feige has come out and he said straight up, we have never considered. He didn't just say Black Widow's not going to be an R-rated movie. He said we've never even considered it. And he said exactly what I said. He goes, some random site said one thing and all of a sudden everybody made it a news item. And he was absolutely right about that. And look, again, are there potential upsides to a rated R Black Widow movie, particularly with her background as a character? Sure, there's some upside. Is there a need to do Black Widow rated R? No. Does it present problems making her rated R? Absolutely. She's already in the MCU and you can't move that out. So to me, there's no surprise. I'm glad that Kevin Feige actually came out and put this to rest and just came right out and said, no, this is not happening. This is not going to be an R-rated thing. Done. Rob, you heard Kevin Feige's words on this. What are your responses to that?
Well, I didn't really ever think we were going to get an R-rated Black Widow movie. I made the point that her origin could be R-rated, but when you think about it, what does an R rating really say? You can say the word fuck if you say it in a sexual context, you get an immediate R rating. if there's nudity or sexuality, extreme sexuality, you get an R rating, or if there's extreme violence. Now, you don't need any of those things to effectively tell the story of a comic book character or a character like Black Widow. I go back to The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is the themes and the situations are very R-rated. But they do things in that film like when people get mowed down by a machine gun, you don't see the blood squibs. People still get mowed down by a machine gun. There's still incredible action. I mean, the Joker kills a lot of people in The Dark Knight.
Yeah. You can put a lot of violence. You can put a lot of violence in these movies, just not graphic violence.
Right, not graphic violence. And the context. I mean, so I'm like, as long as it doesn't hamper the story that you want to tell, I don't think that, if you're a kid that loves the MCU, you're not going to be well served by suddenly going to see, if you're 14 or 13 or 12 or 10, look, it might be nice to see Scarlett Johansson in some explicit love scene, but you don't need it. And nor does the MCU need it. I think the MCU is its own thing. I think, and look, I'm the first person to like graphic sexuality, graphic violence, all kinds of hell's a pop and good fun like that. But I don't think I need to see that in an MCU film. What I want is great characters, a great story, and an overall arc that furthers what the MCU has been doing for the last 10 years. So yeah. I have no problem with this at all.
Well, you know me, man. I love the filthy. Bring on the filthy. But you're right. It doesn't need it. The MCU doesn't need it. The Black Widow character doesn't need it. There's certainly not a level of degree there where you think it could be beneficial compared to a film like Deadpool. Yes. Blade. Yes. Ghost Rider. Sure. That level of benefit isn't there with some of these other characters. So I'm totally with you, Rob. I think you're absolutely right. I think this is the right move, and I'm glad once again that Kevin Feige didn't let it linger. He just came out and put it to rest, and I thought that was a good
me
move.
Too.
All right, what is the next email today?
Tori Bryce Brown. Hi, John. I wasn't going to see A Quiet Place until I heard you talking about it, and I decided to check it out, and I loved it so much. Can you imagine how excited I was to hear that not only does the sequel have a release date next year on May 15th, but also John Krasinski is going to come back to direct, and the original cast is all coming back. So how excited are you for this, and do you think it can live up to the original?
I'm very excited. Quiet Place to me was the best film of 2018, in my opinion. John, you just said Black Klansman was your number one pick. Out of the films that were actually nominated, as a complete befuddlement to me, Quiet Place was not nominated for Best Picture of the Year, but whatever. I've moved past that. Now they announced a while, look, they were going to do another thing on this. The film made like 85 times its budget or some ridiculous number, right? So we knew they were going to make another one. John Krasinski had already mentioned he was going to come up with the story for it, but didn't think he was going to direct. And then it all comes out in one big glorious rush. That the sequel is coming out in a year. It's not going to start shooting in a year. It's coming out in a year. And all the original cast is coming back. And John Krasinski is going to be directing it. I can't think of any way this could have gone better. For me, at any rate, as a fan of the film. I have no idea how this could have gone or been perceived or gotten any better news in this. Now, clearly, careful, minor spoiler here for those of you who've not seen A Quiet Place, but it's been out and available for you to watch forever, so if you haven't seen it, you clearly have no interest in watching it. But Krasinski won't be back on camera, unless there's going to be flashback scenes. But I'm giddy. I'm absolutely giddy is the G word here. Giddy about this news. I'm so psyched. And you were really the first one, Robert, to bring it to my attention that Krasinski was going to be directing again. And I've just been living in this euphoric joygasm ever since. And this is all wonderful news to me. And I can't wait. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, it was a very successful genre film and really well done. And I love the fact that it's the collaboration of a husband and wife, in real life. And everything about this movie deserves to be carried forward, and I'm happy to see when great genre cinema gets recognized both by the popular culture and the box office, and we get more of it. It's great for everybody.
Absolutely, and again, one of the shocking things to me though is that the thing is next year, like in 1 year, like they are so far along in the process of putting this thing together that they are confident that between now And next year, they're going to be able to finish up pre-pro, shoot this damn thing, edit it, post it, and have it in theaters in like just a little hair over a year. To me, that's great. That's exciting. Don't have to wait that long. Yay. Okay. With that said, our show's running a little bit long today. That's okay. With that said, let's go on to our final topic of the day. What's next up?
Next is from Mike. Hey, John, someone posted on Reddit a list of movies, upcoming ticket sales, release dates, and Avengers Endgame is April 2nd. If this is true, why would Marvel wait this long to postpone advanced ticket sales on the movie?
All right, so where this is coming from, this is intriguing because quite often we'll say any rumor that starts on Reddit, just dismiss. Just dismiss it. But this one particular one has some validity to it, and here's why. There's this statement going around on Reddit with somebody who claims that the advanced ticket sales for Avengers Endgame go on sale April 2nd. Now, they accompanied that with an image of a ticket release schedule. Now, as somebody who has worked at AMC theaters before, I can tell you that the image they put out looked legit. Like, again, I cannot 100% verify the authenticity of it. For all I know, somebody printed that paper up, then took a fake picture of it, then posted that, and that might be the case. All I can tell you is, as somebody who has seen some of these types of documents before, it looked legit to me. It looked pretty legit to me. So it brings up this question now about, you're asking, well, if the tickets go on sale April 2nd, why are they waiting so late? Why are they waiting so late to release these tickets? And I remember thinking to myself, well, wait a minute. Avengers comes out on April 26th. That is still over 3 weeks. It's almost 3.5 weeks before the movie comes out. Now, can you make an argument that, hey, some movies put their tickets on sale 4 weeks in advance, 5 weeks in advance, 6 weeks in advance? Sure. But guys, it was only a blink ago, that advanced ticket sales weren't even a common thing. Now it's just about every movie that comes out, you can get advanced ticket sales and all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line here for me is that it's still 3.5 weeks before the movie comes out. And I feel like right now, we as film fans, and I include all of us in this, including this guy right here, we as film fans are kind of like really nervous little creatures that at the slightest sound of anything, we jump. Like, it's almost like we're looking for something that is a sign of something to be worried about. A trailer hasn't come out yet, 9 months in advance. Should we be worried? Oh my gosh, they shouldn't show this character in a trailer. Should we be worried? They're putting the advanced ticket sales on sale 3.5 weeks in advance instead of 4 weeks in advance. Should we be worried? And everybody, it feels like right now, is just looking for something that they're supposed to be worried about. My response would simply be this. With Avengers Endgame, does it really matter if these advanced tickets go on sale 5 weeks in advance, 6 weeks in advance, or 3 weeks in advance? They're going to sell the amount of tickets they're going to sell. You're going to buy them the moment they go on sale. I'm going to buy them the moment they go on sale. Whether they're on sale 6 weeks in advance, 5 weeks in advance, it's not going to make the movie get here any sooner, kids. It's not going to make the movie get here any sooner. So I would simply say, I don't blink at this. If they are putting the tickets on sale just that far in advance, I don't think that's anything to think about. I certainly don't think it's anything to worry about. And I don't think at the end of the day, it's going to make any difference about anything. People who are going to go opening weekend are going to buy their tickets when they go on sale, regardless of when you put them on sale. So I think this personally, Rob, I think this is a non-issue. Is this something I should be a little bit more worried about? Is somebody really looking forward to this movie, or do you think it's a non-issue?
Well, it's a total non-issue because Marvel doesn't want you buying tickets for Avengers Endgame right now. They want you buying tickets for Captain Marvel.
Thank you. Excellent.
I mean,
that's the best point of the day. Point of the day. Yes, you're absolutely right.
I mean, they've got a movie that is introducing a new character that they want to be another cornerstone of the MCU. Why would they ever want to cut into her ticket sales? They don't. They only care about you'll see tickets for Avengers go on sale after Captain Marvel opens, and rightfully so.
I think, Rob, once again, you just brought it all down to making the perfect point on top of all that,
Well,
because
thank
now
you,
you
John.
give Captain Marvel a chance to live, to open and breathe a bit
Yeah.
in theaters and hype up Avengers Endgame even more. Then you put the tickets on sale.
I mean, maybe the final scene, the end of the credits roll, and all it's going to come up is, and buy your Avengers Endgame tickets right here
today or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point, man.
At this
All right.
theater.
At this very moment, or just crack open your phone and buy them. Okay. We have gone a little bit longer than normal on the main topics, but that's okay. It is the day after the Oscars. We like, though, on the John Campea Show to take a little bit of time to take your live questions as we do every day. We've already got a whole a lot of live questions lining up here in the chat board. So Ashley gets things going here. What is in the live chat board today?
All right, let's get started. Brian Esparza, Beale Street score was mesmerizing. Should have won, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree in the sense that I think the score was amazing. The Beale Street could talk. There's so much great about that movie. That being said, I thought what they did with the Black Panther score was incredible. I would have voted for Black Panther myself, but yeah, all full credit to Beale Streets. All right, what's next?
Samuel Pillay, people comparing the Green Book win to Crash on Twitter. Wasn't my pick, but it isn't that bad. I'm just glad it wasn't Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, there are a few films that that were nominated that I really enjoyed that I just didn't think should have been nominated. I didn't think Vice should have been nominated for Best Picture. I didn't think Bohemian Rhapsody, while I loved it, shouldn't have been nominated. I didn't think Black Panther, which I love, shouldn't have been nominated. But I thought Green Book was outstanding, simply an outstanding film, and I'm really happy for it to win. Again, I would have personally, if I was a voting member, I would have voted Black Klansman, but I think Green Book is a super deserving film. Love that movie. I think it's so well done, and I think it deserves every bit of credit it gets. All right, what's next?
Ben Rainier, new Lion King teaser was great. It'll be #1 at box office. I was watching awards with my fam, and they went crazy for Lion King teaser, and they didn't care of Endgame teaser during Super Bowl.
Rob, this is exactly what we were talking about, that we've got a movie here that even non-hardcore movie fans are just getting buzzing with electricity about over this Lion King thing. And we're seeing this play out. Like, have you got, I mean, look, you travel in movie circles clearly, but like, have you been sensing like the same buzz that I've been seeing for Lion King?
Yeah, because look, it's coming. Everyone loved that Jungle Book, and it's Jon Favreau, and it's his entire team. And I'm actually sort of convinced that certain human beings born after a certain age have Lion King encoded into their DNA. So it's actually a natural compulsion for all of us to go see the Lion King, because it's, who doesn't want to see that? Like I think we all want to see it.
I know I do.
It's like a Star Wars movie. You got to go. Can't not see it.
And Ben brings up a good point. This is what I've been seeing, this being repeated by a number of people saying, gosh, I'm with these people who don't want to go see movies that much, but Lion King comes on and all of a sudden they all want to go see it.
Yep.
Look, I still think if I had to put money on it, Endgame wins the box office this year. That's the safe bet. I'm just saying, let's not be shocked if like Lion King comes out and makes $2.2 billion and wins the box office for a year. Keep your eye on it. Let's not sleep on it. All right, what's next?
The other black guy, if y'all made a movie, what club would you rather be in? The $1 Billion Club or the Oscar Winners Club?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Ooh, well, it all depends. Like, if I'm in my financial situation, the $1 Billion Club. If I am in the financial situation of a Spike Lee or an Alfonso Cuarón or a Guillermo del Toro or a Steven Spielberg or a lot of different people in Hollywood, and I haven't had a $1 billion film yet, I want an Oscar. I want an Oscar badly. But yeah, in my situation, I'll take the $1 billion film. What about you, Rob?
I'll take the Oscar because then I can up my quote and make the $1 billion movie next.
There you go. There you go. One is not necessarily divorced from the other.
Right.
All right. What's next?
John walked in. Cap and Olivia Colman's speech, Still in the Night.
Yeah, well, first of all, Cap, I mean, again,
so great.
Every woman who was in my house last night, when Chris Evans got up to help Regina King up the stairs, squealed. Just squealed. And Anne, my wife, screamed out without any exaggeration. She screamed this out, "Why is he so perfect?" And then looked at me very disappointingly. And it's just, that was great. But Olivia Colman's speech to me was the winner of the night for sure.
I think that everybody who's going on to Rotten Tomatoes and trying to bring down the score for the must-see on Captain Marvel should take a gander. Chris Evans did not even bat an eyebrow. He did not wait. He jumped up and did what any great man would do for a woman who's wearing a beautiful dress that has a long trail and heels. She's wearing heels. You get up and you do that. That's the mark of a gentleman, people. That
I don't
was
know.
a lesson to learn.
I will never know for the life of me how these incredible people, these women at these awards, can walk in those dresses. They put on these unbelievably gorgeous dresses, but how you navigate and even just do something as simple and walk in them, I would be on my face in like 3 steps every time. Every time. Like, can you navigate those very well, Ashley? Can you navigate those things?
No, it's so hard. Like, even the older I get, the worse I am with them. But I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, I can't
What's
do much
next?
more than like a couple inches. Brian Esparza thought Boho Rap was terribly edited. I don't know how it won.
No, I don't know. I like it again. It wouldn't have been my pick. No, it wouldn't have been my pick, which is fine. But I thought it was a very well edited movie, especially when you get to the Live Aid concert part. Like it's just cut together so well, and so I had no problems with it, to be honest with you. All right, what's next?
Brent Hernandez, in my opinion, Malik's win is one of the worst acting wins ever. Cooper brought me to tears, and Bale was Dick Cheney. Vigo was also great, but Cooper deserved it.
I'll disagree with you on that. I don't necessarily think Cooper deserved it. I think he gave a great performance. I have no problem with his nomination, but he probably would have been last on my particular ballot. He probably would have been last on my ballot, although deserving of a nomination, he was wonderful. Rami Malek was, I mean, he was insanely good in that role. And that wasn't an easy role. It was a very difficult role and a very challenging role. I thought Christian Bale was very good. I thought Viggo Mortensen may have been the one to get my vote, maybe, but yeah, I think the performance of Rami Malek, and I think you're seeing across the board why even SAG, the actors, all thought he was fabulous and fantastic in it. So it says a lot. It really does. All right, what's next?
They're all fantastic. That was my hardest category, I feel like.
It was stacked.
All right, Andrew Garfield, Mahershala Ali is now a 2-time Oscar winner, but I didn't know he was a college basketball player. I'm sure LeBron would love him on the Lakers right now.
Listen, Mahershala Ali. First of all, you can put me on the Lakers right now. It might be an improvement. Mahershala Ali, right now, his last 2 films. At the Oscars, he's won Best Supporting Actor, and the film he was in went on to win Best Picture. So it happened with Moonlight, happened with Green Book, and now every director and producer wants to line up to give Mahershala Ali a supporting role in their film because it may automatically mean that they win Best Picture. I guess we can all look forward to Alita Battle Angel winning Best Picture next year because Mahershala Ali is a supporting character in it. But yeah, I couldn't be happy for her. He joins the ranks of he's now like a Christoph Waltz. Christoph Waltz came out and banged out 2 Best Supporting Actor wins in a row. Mahershala Ali's now done the same, and I just love this dude. I think he's great. Even when he's in terrible stuff, I think he's awesome, and couldn't have been happier for him. All right, what's next?
Yeah, he rules. Eddie Burton, any thoughts on the Irishman teaser from last night?
Meh. It was basically an announcement. It wasn't even a trailer. It was a minor little announcement, so no thoughts from me on that, to be honest with you. Let's wait till we get a real trailer, then we'll talk about it. All right, what's next?
Ben Rayner, over under 45%. Lion King makes $75 million opening weekend.
So impossible to say at this point because, we've gotten the same one trailer, but I mean, just off the top of my head, I don't know that there's any way. I don't know that there's any way that it only makes $75 million opening weekend. I'm thinking 150.
Yeah, me too.
Plus, maybe 200 million plus. I mean, I don't know, Rob, where do you see this thing coming in?
No, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. It's going to be one of the biggest movies. It's going to be gigantic. Maybe not as gigantic as Endgame, but it's going to be huge.
This, of course, is making an assumption that it's going to be good. I mean, because a lot is riding on that. It's got to be good. But, I mean, if what Jon Favreau did with Jungle Book is any indication, which was awesome, it probably will be. So let's see what happens. All right, what's next?
I'm upset. Shocked a movie 43 director won Best Picture. LOL.
Yeah, when you put it that way, Dumb and Dumber director wins Best Picture. Not nominated for, again, weird thing to me, Rob. It's just fifth film. Only the fifth film in history not to win Best Picture without the director being nominated.
Well, he had that controversy too about how he liked to wag his private parts at people for fun, and he sort of had his stature. He got Me Too'd.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Peter Farrelly got a little Me Too'd this year.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I didn't even hear about that.
You know, you'd think it would be different when you're talking about the director of Dumb and Dumber, but you know,
so wagging your business in front of people is not cool. No, not cool.
But you know, we all start doing it when we're like 2, so it's ingrained in our.
All right, what's next?
Harris, I just finished watching Titans on Netflix, binge watching the whole thing yesterday, and didn't expect to love it as much as I did. R.I.P. CW.
Oh, I doubt it. That's great to say. It always makes me laugh when people see something they like and they go, R.I.P. whatever the competitor is. Yeah, don't hold your breath for R.I.P. CW. They're doing very well on CW. I still haven't seen Titans because I haven't got it yet. Although I may get it now because Doom Patrol is now on there.
It looks so good. Everyone's telling me it's great.
And I've been saying this whole time, I'm not getting this service until they've got at least a second original show on there that I can watch. I was holding out for Swamp Thing.
Me too.
But this Doom Patrol looks pretty good, so I think I might be getting this week. So I might be watching Titans here pretty quick. All right, what's next?
Charles A. All great men have mustaches, Frank. Yeah, but real men grow them. You know I have a hormone disorder.
Oh, I can't remember what that one's from. Rob, do you got any clue what that one's from?
I do not know.
Unless that's from what was the Seth MacFarlane Western he did with was A Million Ways to Die in the West. That might be from A Million Ways to Die in the West because that was a big thing in the film. But if it's not A Million Ways to Die in the West, I don't know what it is. All right, what's next?
Andrew Lee, I was hoping to see them announce Thor and T'Challa as presenters and then have Chris Hemsworth walk out and present next to a small pile of dust.
I heard several people making comments that they would love to see some sort of an Avengers joke there where they announce 2 people and it's just one of them with a pile of dust. That would have been a gold moment. It was a missed opportunity because that would have been great. I think that would have been a fabulous thing to do.
By the way, I think it's the movie Hot Rod.
Oh, is that from Hot Rod?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, then, because it sounds like something like, I don't remember it from Million Ways to Die in the West, but there's a big mustache thing in Million Ways, so I thought maybe it was that. But Hot Rod could be it. All right, what's next?
Charles A. Souls of the Animal Kingdom, eagle, fox, bottlenose, dolphin, octopus, house cat. Okay, let's jump this. Jump.
Oh, okay, you might be right that last one was Hot Rod because that one is definitely from Hot Rod. That one is definitely from Hot Rod, so you might be right about that last one. All right, what's next?
Tucker Flynn, you can have one of the following IPs to make a franchise of your own. Which would you choose considering your only goal is to get the bigger return? James Bond, DC Comics, or Harry Potter, and why?
Oh, Rob, to me, there's no question. It's DC. DC has the most upside right now. Like if you're saying you could go back in time and take over an IP, well, maybe Harry Potter at that point. But Harry Potter is out of its peak. It's now on... It's still very strong, still very, very strong, but it's no longer at its peak. The DC's in a position now where it's just all upside right now.
Yeah.
It's just all upside. So I think, look, Bond is still very strong. The Potter franchise is still very strong, but I got to go DC, Rob.
I'm going to go with you as well. As much as I love the James Bond franchise and Skyfall did make over $1 billion, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go DC.
Yeah, especially now, again, you've had a period of time of disappointing results, I guess you could say. But now we seem to be in this upswing momentum time period right now with Aquaman doing so well. Shazam is coming out, and I think that's going to be awesome. I think Shazam's going to be awesome.
Me too.
And then you've got Patty Jenkins' next installment of Wonder Woman, which it's still Patty Jenkins directing it, so no reason to assume it's not going to be great as well. We're on a real upswing right now with DC, so for that reason, I think Rob and I here both go. We take over the DC franchise. All right, what's next?
Eric Huffman, I proposed on Friday and she said yes. Yay.
Woo!
She had never seen Star Wars and asked if we could marathon it before episode 7. Confirmed she was the one.
Nice.
Well, Eric, I might suggest maybe you should do that marathon session before proposing. I think maybe you should rescind the proposal. That's probably not a classy thing to do. But hey, listen, that just reminded me of something. I brought this up on Open Mic yesterday. But one of our regular viewers and a Patreon supporter of the channel, Puneet Singh, He wrote in on the Patreon supporter page the other day that he hadn't been watching and participating for a couple of days now because he had a major life event in his life. He got married.
Wow.
He got married. And just let me, I said this on open mic yesterday. I will say it again here. There are just some cultures that know how to dress like a boss, because I, Robert, will never look as good in anything. I will never wear anything in my life, something that's cool or that will make me look as good as what Puneet and his bride there are wearing, because that looks awesome.
Yeah,
that is a great looking outfit.
That one of, there's in the movie I've been working on, Tango Shalom, there's a wedding scene. There's a Sikh wedding. And they're all decked out like that. And I agree. There's nobody does it better than the East Indians, because man, India always, look at those clothes. Come
and look
on.
at the tattoos on their hands and everything.
Oh
they
yeah,
got
the henna
that's just
so.
That's just
and you
badass,
know
man.
somebody at one point burst into song and the entire dance party turned into a huge dance number. And
I can only hope. I can only hope.
Boy, they look great.
All right. And again, congratulations, Eric. That is really awesome. So congratulations to you and your new fiance. All right. What's next?
Brian Clark. I got 2 test screening invitations for the same day. James Mangold's Ford vs. Ferrari and John Wick Parabellum. The decision-making process is driving me nuts. Help me decide, guys. It's tomorrow.
You know, Rob, my first reaction to that was thinking, well, obviously John Wick Parabellum, but I've been looking forward a lot to this Ford versus Ferrari film. This looks really great. I think it would be a tougher decision for me than I thought at first. I'd still lean towards, personally, the John Wick Parabellum.
Me too. I mean, it's not that Mangold's Ford versus Ferrari isn't going to be great. It's just a different kind of movie, and I'm ramping up for that summer movie season. I want to see me some John Wick.
Yeah, I got to go. I mean, look, you're absolutely right, Brian. That is a tough call. It's a tough call when you stop and think about it for a minute, but I think both Rob and I agree. Yeah, lean towards John Wick, man. Good luck. Good luck. All right, what's next?
James Welsh. Is Bradley Cooper the new Leo? 4 acting noms, no wins.
Well, kind of in a way. The thing about Bradley Cooper here is that I can't think of a year where he definitively deserved a win, and that's tough. That's why winning these awards is so tough. I mean, look, if you're feeling bad for him, think about Glenn Close. I think this was her 6th. I think this was her 6th nomination. And she hasn't won one yet, I believe. So, yeah, it might be. It might be. He might have to get a couple more nominations before he's finally able to crack that code. But then again, like I said, I'm perfectly happy for him getting nominated. I didn't think he had any business winning that award last night. But, hey, man, he's still, when you're as an actor can say, I've got 4 Academy Award nominations, that's still pretty damn good, even if you don't have a win yet. All right, what's next?
All right, this is A Quiet Place spoiler, just to tell everyone. Aaron H. Still a little salty that A Quiet Place didn't at least get a nomination. Most powerful scene of the year to me was when the dad sacrificed himself for his kids.
It was a wonderful, powerful, amazing moment and scene. And the way John Krasinski played that scene was, what's the word for it? It was haunting. It was haunting the way he played that scene. And I thought it was great. Still, the scene of the year to me is Emily Blunt coming down those stairs and stepping on the nail. That to me is still the most horrific, powerful, crazy scene I had ever seen. But like Rob and I were talking about, I am just giddy. I'm just flat out giddy that this is being done, that Krasinski's back to direct, that Emily Blunt is coming back, that the kids, I believe the girl's name is Millicent Simmons, I think was her name. The deaf girl who played their daughter, so good in that movie, Rob. And I just couldn't be more thrilled for it. Could not be more thrilled for it. All right, what's next?
Sebastian, Spike Lee fan, but show some class. Kids watch the show.
Yeah, I got to tell you what, I was a little bit disappointed by all the crap that came out of Spike Lee last night. Now, you guys know he was my pick to win Best Director of the Year. I would have voted for him to win Best Director of the Year. I thought what he did with BlacKkKlansman was insanely great. But I also thought he acted pretty classless afterwards. Now, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. Whatever. He was caught in the moment. He clearly felt disappointed. He probably thought he had a chance to win because he did just win the best screenplay, which was great to see him up there getting that award. But I thought he could have handled a little better. But then again, like you're caught in that moment. That's a moment you and I will never be in, folks. We will never be at the Academy Awards and thinking we're about to win Best Picture. And then in a moment, you found out you didn't. And who's to say how we would first react? We all like to think we know how we would hope we would react. But until you're in that situation and can really, really tell. Look, was it the best reaction for him? No. Was I disappointed in his reaction? Yes. But should we judge him for it? Man, we can't possibly put ourselves in his shoes. We can't possibly put ourselves in his shoes. So let's cut the guy cut him a little bit of slack. I mean, was it the right reaction? No, but we can all talk a big game about how we would have reacted. But would we? Would we? We don't know for sure. And I'm going to give him a pass on it. I'm going to give him a pass. All right, what's next?
Travis Bickle. My Knicks finally won last night. Go NY, go.
That was actually one of the funnier parts when Samuel Jackson's like, hey, after 17 games losing, they won tonight. Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was great. All right, what's next?
Sebastian, Black Panther owned it. Captain Marvel equals $1.2 billion.
Woo, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, Rob, I know you are a believer in Captain Marvel joining the $1 billion club.
I am.
And I'm kind of thinking 500 million is successful. 600 to 700 million, which is exactly where Ant-Man and Doctor Strange came in, who were both introduced without being introduced first in another film. They both came in between 6 and 700 million. I'm still thinking 6 to 700 million, but there's a growing thought here that it could join the $1 billion club. But I'm still not in that. I'm still not on that train, Rob. I'm still not convinced. Like, what would you say is the one compelling reason why you think it'll make $1 billion?
I just think that the world is waiting. I think we have a whole group of young girls and their moms that can't wait for this movie to come out. You know, they've watched Wonder Woman together over and over and over again, and it's an audience that we don't talk about much in the geek blogosphere or vlogosphere, and I think that they're going to surprise us. I think that we're going to see this open much, much bigger than we might thought. People didn't think Wonder Woman was going to make $800 million.
Yeah.
And I think, we've got an audience of people primed to see this movie. If it's good. It's got to be good.
Yeah, it's got to be good. Then all bets are off.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Bobby Lorca, my heart broke for Glenn Close. Happy for Coleman.
Yeah, I get it too, because Glenn Close was winning a lot of the Oscar awards. She was winning a lot of them, but I still told you guys she is a long shot. When the Oscars are a little bit of a different animal, I think she's a long shot. And I would have been totally cool if she won, because it's Glenn Close. So I would have been totally fine if she had won. No arguments for me if she had won. But yeah, I wasn't surprised at all at Olivia Colman's win. Wasn't surprised in the least. And again, it did give us, I think, the best speech of the night. I could watch that speech 100. I was just so charmed. My wife, Anne, actually, who hasn't seen The Favorite yet, Anne watched that speech, and she literally said out loud to everybody, she goes, I don't know her, and now I want to go watch her movie because I love her. And that was it. And I think Olivia Colman had a lot of people fall in love with her last night. But you know what? 6 nominations up, 6 nominations down for Glenn Close. Do not count her out. I am predicting she will have one of these things on her shelf sooner or later. She will have one of these things because she's Glenn Close. All right, what's next?
Someone McShave, have you seen the original Swedish-Norwegian version of Insomnia with Stella Skarsgård? I think it's better than the remake by Nolan with Pacino and Robin Williams.
I have not seen the original version, to be honest with you. Insomnia, other than The Dark Knight, is probably my favorite Christopher Nolan film. I love Insomnia. I think that movie is awesome, but I've never seen the original. Have you, Rob?
Yeah, and it's great. And you know what? I would tend to agree. There's something, and here's the thing. When you're watching a foreign film in a foreign language and you see an actor, in my mind, Robin Williams and Al Pacino, they bring too much baggage. It's hard for them to be submerged into the role the way when I'm watching. I didn't know Stellan Skarsgård as much when I saw Insomnia, and it was much more of it. It washed over me more. Whereas in Nolan's version, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm watching Al Pacino. Yep.
All right.
What's different?
What's next?
Mike Zambrano, dogs over cats, ketchup on eggs, justice for Han, pineapple on pizza. Sorry, John, LOL. At least we can agree on the dogs cats debate. Happy Monday, you guys.
Yeah, I don't have it here in front of me, but somebody made this great fan art that they illustrated it just like a Dr. Seuss book, and it was a picture of me called Campea, ketchup on eggs, oh no, or something like that. It was really, really funny and fun. I like that one a lot. All right, what's next?
Abdul, hey guys, with Black Panther's achievement, do you see it paving the way for more comic book movies or Star Wars movies for more recognition?
Well, again, I believe that recognition is only part of the equation. Like for a long time, we as fans would cry about, we want more recognition, but we wouldn't acknowledge that to get that recognition, we need this genre to evolve a little bit more. We need this genre to get better overall. Like we've had some highlight moments, Dark Knight and what have you, but we've only been focused on the acknowledgement part without ourselves acknowledging that the genre as a whole is still relatively in its infancy and is still developing and has some growing to do. I don't think it's a matter of now it's being willing to be recognized. I think it's a combination of the fact that these are films and a genre that is getting better and better. And in cooperation with that, the Academy is recognizing that growth. The Academy is recognizing that development in its excellence. The fact that they're getting better and better. So it's not just a one-sided coin. To me, it's very much a two-sided coin. And yeah, again, remember, Star Wars was nominated for Best Picture at the 1978 Academy Awards, lost out to Annie Hall. But so it's not like it's never happened before, right? I mean, Lord of the Rings, all three Lord of the Rings movies were nominated for Best Picture. Return of the King won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. So it's not like the Academy has been in a place where we refuse to acknowledge anything genre. It's just that we got to put something forward exceptional from the genres that deserve that sort of recognition. And then we need the Academy to start recognizing that achievement when it happens. And I do think we're seeing that happen on both fronts. We're seeing the evolution of the genre. We're seeing the evolution of what the Academy acknowledges. And it's a win-win for everybody. So let's see what happens next year. All right, what's next?
Dim Sum 05, MCU doesn't have good score. Tell that to the Oscars.
Well,
or tell that.
Black Panther did. I mean, Black Panther was great. And you know what's funny, Rob? I would often say when people would ask me over the last couple of years, would you say there's any areas that the DCEU does a little bit better than Marvel? And I would always go to score. I've always found that with a few exceptions here and there, for the most part, the DC's always gotten their scores much better than the Marvel films have. But we're hearing the Marvel scores get a little bit better, and I think the score in Black Panther was just incredible. How would you address that?
Well, yeah, I think it's incredible. I think the difference is, the scores in the MCU have been sort of a piece, and Black Panther was allowed to stand out. The score was allowed to be more innovative and more unique and more, in a way, sort of auteurist, if that makes any sense. There's people always complain about like how the cinematography in all the Marvel Universe movies looks kind of the same, but that's by design. And I think they allowed them to go a little further with Black Panther, and it certainly paid off. Whereas, the DCEU movies up until Aquaman, you had a lot of Hans Zimmer, and you had that pounding, that Dark Knight, and he brought that same thing to Batman v Superman and all that. So, yeah.
All right, what's next?
Dim Sum 05, Cap helping Regina King up the steps.
Yeah, again, that I cannot speak for any of you guys and what was happening at your house, but I had a house full of people last night, and when Chris Evans helped Regina King up, the entire room, particularly the women in the house, swooned. Just swooned over that. And it was a great moment. It was absolutely a great moment. Evans' stock went up a bit last night. Let's just put it that way. All right, what's next?
Sebastian, I don't think people should be so surprised comic book movies are doing well. If you're over 40, sure, it seems novel. Under 30 or 40, you grew up with them.
Yeah, but you didn't grow up with them winning Academy Awards.
Right.
that hasn't happened. Yeah, we saw it happen with Dark Knight when, Heath Ledger, and they won a technical award as well. But it's not about whether you grew up with these movies. It's about we haven't seen the Oscars recognize these films before. And again, last year with Logan getting the Best Screenplay nomination, this year 4 Academy Award wins for the genre. It is a very different thing. Times are a-changing, Sebastian, man. Times are a-changing. All right, what's next?
Stubble McShave, would you like to see a remake of the Shogun series?
Oh, Stubble, I've been saying that for years. You guys have heard me say that all the time. I would love to see a Shogun feature film, a Shogun miniseries, a Shogun HBO series, a Shogun Netflix limited series, whatever. I love Shogun. I would love to see another one if they got around to it. It's very, very rich, deep source material. And yeah, just around. Who doesn't love samurais? All right.
And the original series is great.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful. With Sala. What was his name? John Rice Davies.
Inglés.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Inglés. All right. You need a bath, Inglés. All right. What's next?
Sebastian, the Oscars should be for theatrical release, in my humble opinion.
You know, there's a part of that I resonate with, that a movie is one that plays in the theaters. You know, there's a part of me that resonates with that. At the same time, I acknowledge, though, a movie is a movie. Whether you air it in the theaters, whether you air it on Netflix, whether you air it wherever, a movie is a movie. I resonate with the notion that a real movie plays in movie theaters. I resonate with that. But at the same time, look, many of these times when they make these movies, they have no idea. A lot of these Netflix movies had no idea they were going to be on Netflix when they start making them. You know, they're approached the same way as a movie that's being approached that's going to end up on the big screen is approached. Sometimes they do know they're making a movie directly for Netflix, but a lot of time it's just Netflix buys a movie that's been made already. So it's the same thought, the same care, same execution goes into it. So I don't know, Rob, what do you think about that?
Well, like I was talking to somebody yesterday online about the fact that I do believe that the theatrical experience, movies should be larger than life. I like going into a big theater that has a big screen and a big sound system because there's a lot of craft work that goes into making a movie look and sound great. And I think when you're watching a movie on TV, just by definition, unless you have a kick-ass home theater system, you're missing part of the experience. And look, I love watching movies on TV as much as the next person. I like watching movies at home. I like owning movies. But given a choice, I'd always want to see a movie in that communal experience in the darkened theater with a big screen and a big sound system, because there's nothing better. And there's no way, you know, for as much as I like watching movies at home, your focus when you're in a movie theater is on nothing else. There's no phones ringing. You know, you're not looking outside of your peripheral vision. You're in it, man. You're in the experience, and there's nothing that can duplicate that. You know, your focus is laser sharp, and the movie washes over you that way. And I hope that never goes away.
All right, what's next?
Edgar Navarro, y'all should really see a Star Wars is Born parody from The Nerdist. It's hilarious.
I've seen that on Facebook. I've seen that on Facebook, and it is really quite funny. I don't know if you guys, have either of you guys had a chance to see that yet?
I posted it to my Facebook page.
I gotta see it.
It's really funny. It's basically the Rey and Kylo Ren singing "Shallow," and
okay, I'm gonna love it.
It's really actually quite well done, and it's very, very funny. I enjoyed it. All right, what's next?
Willow Yang, I'll be honest, when Green Book made its surprise best pick win, I withheld my reaction just to make sure it wasn't another La La Land situation. Will the Oscars ever live that one down?
That, you know what it is? The phrase comes to mind, you had one job. You know, that phrase comes to mind. And it wasn't the people presenting the award. It wasn't who was presenting that year again?
Warren Beatty.
Warren Beatty, you're right.
And Faye Dunaway.
It wasn't Faye Dunaway or Warren Beatty's fault. They got handed the wrong envelope. And so you think about, you had one job to get the right envelope into their hands to do the thing. And honestly, no, they will never live that down, and nor should they. And they shouldn't forget about it. They should always be aware and never get too comfortable, because when you get comfortable, you start overlooking details and mistakes happen. If you're constantly aware of the mistakes you've made before, you're less likely to make them in the future. So no, I don't think they'll ever live it down. And I think that's a positive thing for them to make sure something like that never happens again. Because while I thought, when that happened, I thought it was outrageously entertaining. And I was happy because I thought Moonlight should have won over La La Land. I could not help but feel devastatingly bad for the La La Land people, because for a moment they were told they won Best Picture at the Academy Awards.
Oh, man.
And then all of a sudden it was taken away from them, right? Like, do you guys remember, like, what was going through your heads when that moment was happening?
I fell off my chair. I was at a bar and I literally just fell off my chair. I was like, what? And just like, chair gone. I could not believe it. But yeah, it is. I mean, at every Oscars, you're gonna have heartache and you're gonna have cheers. It's just, but that was like a shocking moment.
Totally.
Yeah.
I was like, my jaw was on the floor. I'm like, I felt terrible. I felt because I
so
love
bad
La
for
La
them.
Land. You know, I don't know if La La Land was Best Picture material, but I did love that movie, and I just couldn't believe to go through that, elation, and then be like, oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Best D14. I remember getting picked on for loving superheroes. Now we will all get to love them. Also, I can't wait for them to change the timeline. All the Avengers standing in line shouting out, "Avengers assemble."
Well, I don't know that we're going to get all the Avengers standing together yelling Avengers Assemble. That would probably sound kind of cheesy and probably look kind of cheesy. But
what?
having
What?
I would.
What are you talking about?
It would be
That would be the
ridiculous.
coolest thing in the world. I'd wet my pants.
Nah, that would be silly. It would be silly.
Bradley
I mean,
That's right out of the comics.
it would be. There's a number of things right out of the comics that should never appear on a big screen.
Oh man,
But no, that would
you're
be
a destroyer of joy.
That'd be ridiculous. Now, what I can see is a whole bunch of Avengers standing there and Cap yelling out "Avengers Assemble." That makes it. But everybody in choreographed unison, "Avengers Assemble!" It would be lame. It would look lame.
If it was done well, man,
There's no way to do it well. How do you do that well? How do you set that up that it doesn't look like a choreographed preschool, kind of play that you're doing on there? Everybody ready? Everybody ready? You ready back there, right, man? How about you, Vision? You good? Okay, good. 1, 2, 3. Avengers Assemble! Come on,
man. I could see it.
I'll just be happy with Cap doing it. All right, just have Cap do it at the head of all the Avengers and yelling that out, and that'll be my moment. I just don't know how you do that without it looking preposterous. I just think it would look preposterous.
I'd love to see that. I'd love it.
All right. What's next?
Big D14. All Avengers and the Black Order, Guardians, CM and War M fighting in the sky, Doctor Strange, Scarlet and Wong fighting Ma, Wakandan and Asgardian army fighting together, OG Avengers versus Thanos.
Man. Come on, my blood's pumping just reading that.
But what best brings up is a concept that time is played with. Again, there's a lot of theories going around with Avengers Endgame that's going to have some way, somehow involved with time travel and what have you. If so, it does, which I don't think is going to happen, but if it did, it would bring up an option of another climactic battle with Thanos later, but with a different construct, if you will, of who's fighting him. Like one of the things I mentioned before, Robert, was remember in Avengers Infinity War, you never had Captain America with Iron Man, with Thor, with Hulk, all at once fighting Thanos, with Doctor Strange, whatever. That fight could have gone differently. Instead, you had Cap with certain people, you had Iron Man with certain people, you had the Hulk just going at him one-on-one, all that kind of stuff. But to have that OG Avengers crew, Cap, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, whatever, fight Thanos then, that could make for a pretty interesting climax. Do you think, or do you just even think they shouldn't go there because we already had the Thanos fights?
No, you never know. I mean, it'd be cool. You could also have the remnants of the Nova Corps, and you could have half the Kree. I mean, it could be the most biggest epic thing ever. I'd love to see something like that.
Let's just, we got time, just a couple more. So what's next?
Sir Ivan Bennett, happy Monday. Watching you guys on a Monday is like walking into a kitchen with someone baking cookies. Nothing but anticipation of the good stuff.
Well, thank you so much, Seer. That's awfully nice. And being able to get on this show and do it for you guys is like watching into a kitchen with some freshly baked cookies and just devouring them all. So thanks for that, man. I appreciate that. All right, what's next?
Cameron Belgrade, still the biggest snub for me was Ethan Hawke for Best Actor. Thought he should have won it, and he wasn't even nominated. Good Oscars show overall.
Yeah, I didn't know what I thought about his chances of winning, but I'll tell you what, I was a little surprised. I was at least a little surprised that Ethan Hawke did not get nominated for First Reformed. That whole movie was his performance. I mean, I think it may arguably been the best performance of his career. I certainly think he could have got. I think I was even more surprised by the Toni Collette omission. Like, I thought Toni Collette, I thought there was a legitimate case to be made that she could have won Best Actress for her role in Hereditary. And when she wasn't even nominated, I was quite surprised. I wasn't as surprised by the Ethan Hawke thing, but at least a little bit. I was at least a little bit. That did raise a little bit of an eyebrow for me. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, final question of the day. What's next?
Sir Ivan Bennett. Also, Robert, did you get the Hot Toys Iron Spider? Holy shit, it's great. So masterfully crafted. I'm almost afraid to touch it.
Oh, he hasn't even taken the plastic off the box yet.
Oh my God, do I love Iron Spider? Woohoo!
You know what, Rob? You got to do when we do the Weekly Hero next. You gotta crack that thing out.
Oh yeah, I haven't even opened it. I just slid it. I saw that you asked the question. I have it here, and yeah, I had to show it. Yeah, I don't have any of the other Infinity War figures, but as I said, I swap them out. I sell them on eBay, and then can get it ones I want. And I have too many Spider-Man figures, but I needed this.
You had to have that one. You got to have that one. I don't even like Iron Spider, but it's the Spider-Man from Infinity War. You got to have it.
Yeah, see, I loved Iron Spider in Civil War, and I have an Iron Spider figure, a smaller one from the Civil War comic. But this figure, it's got a Peter Parker head and a Spider-Man head. It's nice. Dope.
Very nice. All right, guys. That will do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. Listen, the most important thing here is, what do you guys have to say about this stuff? Jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts on any or all the topics we discussed here. And also, mention if you agree, mention if you disagree. Just remember, you're talking to fellow film fans when you're agreeing or disagreeing. So just keep that in mind as you write stuff in. All right, guys, I want to thank the people who are joining me here. Of course, first of all, the Iron Spider loving Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at BurnettRM, find me on Instagram at RMBurnett, or find me on my own YouTube channel, The Burnettwork, or my website, theburnettwork.net.
Also joining us, the bar chair fallen Miss Ashley Whalen. Ashley, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on my Twitter at AshAttack1, or my Instagram is my name, at Ashley Whalen.
And you guys can simply follow me on Instagram, simply at John Campea. That'll do it for us, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. My name's John Campea, and until tomorrow, bye-bye.